Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimSpeed TV, and it's time to return to Monday night action whilst we've had the iRacing Supercars series, and that will be continuing here on SimSpeed later on tonight, but it is a time to return to one of our staple series here on the SimSpeed channels. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new year and a brand new season of the Ozicar Tin Top Cup. The 9th season for the Tin Top Cup specifically, and the 35th season for Ozicar overall, kicks off here tonight with us taking a trip to the relatively recently redeveloped Okayama circuit in Japan, which will be our host venue for this evening's action. And to bring it to you live with myself, Daniel Yaman, here, joined by Peter Wilkinson on commentary for this one here tonight. Peter, great to have you with us in the comms box for this one. I believe it has been a little while since we've had a chance to hear your tones here on SimSpeed TV, but looking forward to the action that we'll have coming our way here tonight with a host of drivers, host of cars, and plenty of exciting action, I'm sure, to come on the track.
Yes, definitely, Daniel. It's one of those tracks, Okayama. It's a staple for the Ozicar series, to be honest. A beautiful track there, set in Japan, up in the hills of Japan. That's a rather cool day over there in Okayama at the moment. I believe Ira was touting some weather there this morning, but it is beautiful and clear, 19 degrees, track temperature 21. Signature of this track, many hairpin turns back on yourself, and those two big straights, Daniel. A lot of action going to be seen there tonight.
Yeah, that's certainly what we're expecting here tonight. Of course, noting that we'll talk about our cars a little bit in a second here, Peter, but yeah, the straightaway will be sort of where we expect plenty of the action for this one here tonight. So yeah, the full course layout here, just over 3.7 kilometers in length and 11 turns to negotiate as well, so plenty of braking zones and action to negotiate in the process. Well, the drivers have just wrapping up qualifying here, Peter, so we aren't going to get a huge amount of time to go through things, but what we can do is quickly explain how our racing is going to go down here tonight. It was 10 minutes of qualifying, although I'm not quite sure if it was meant to be a one-lap sprint in the books, but it was, so that's what they've had to deal with here tonight. But nevertheless, the other big one was that they have themselves a 50-minute race coming up here in just a moment's time, folks. And a compulsory pit stop for at least 2 tyres is the go as well. So we've got to keep that in mind out there on the track.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of strategy in there. We'll see if a lot of the cars jump in early, but I suspect we might see that midway part, the 14-lap marker. But the grid is lining up. We've got some fast cars out there tonight. The Toyota 86s have got the front 3 rows. There's a few Clios that I didn't see had snuck into the race. We've also got the MX-5s in the back. As you bring up, John Merritt is on pole with a 1:42.7, a very hot time there, followed by Andrew Green in second. No, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry. John Merritt in first and Josh Horton in second. There we go. You've got Timmy Harris in third and Tony Baker in fourth. Brody Shepherd into fifth, Jamie Stovald into sixth. We should then see on the next row of the grid Daniel Boswell and Daniel Stevens, the 2 Daniels on row 4. Trevor Hearn and Gavin Barber into row 5 there, 9th and 10th to round out that 10, followed by Dale Sharp and Sean Doyle, long runner in this series. Welcome, Sean, to the grid. Benjamin Wheeler and Elliot D take out 13th and 14th on the grid, as we go back to Craig Tilson and John Snell, another long-time legend of this series. Cameron Edwards and Andrew Green, 17th and 18th. And we've got Ira Felberg there in 19th, and some non-time qualifiers in Nathan Verney, Brendan Nealon, and Adrian J. Dager. So I'm having a shocker here. Shane Chapman and Trevor Mortimer, followed up by Phil King there at the tail end of the grid. And they're off, Daniel. The lights have gone, and it's nice to start into turn one. What's going to happen?
Yep, here we go, folks. The opening race of the season kicks us off here as we make our way to the opening turn, and John Merritt are going to lead them away at the front of the field as they make their way around this opening turn. And we'll see here now with, well, 2 out of 86. Oh, the dominant comes. Seeing some spins in the background, though, and I just can't quite pick up who it might be. It's a little further on back by the looks of things. I saw, but by the time we get down here, folks, it's all looking pretty neat.
They're all back
orderly.
on track.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can catch a replay of it. As I can see Josh Horton, Craig Tilson, potentially some issues for them. But at the front of the field, here John Merritt now carving his way to try and build a bit of a margin here at the front of the order ahead of Tim Harris and Tony Baker. Probably got a timing tower. I think we've got some timing and scoring issues for Josh Horton, and I can hear some commentary over the in-game radio as well, Peter. That would suggest it. But there's the field. 2-3 wide on the run to the hairpin here at the end of the back straight on this opening lap of the race, side by side, in particular here in and around 5th and 6th places. Up the inside there in our Castrol paint, Trevor Hearn there getting a job done, I believe, on Brody Shepherd in behind him now in the Win No Sportsmanship.
Yeah, that's it. We saw the hairpin for the first time as we see a little bit of off-track action there as Josh seems to be going back further through the field, but some on-track action there at the hairpin. Tim Harris has gone wide there. He had a little bit of a bump there going into the hairpin. He's gone wide and might have a little bit of damage there. He's going back through the field. But we come back here to the beautiful Castrol car. My timing is going a little bit crazy on the back end here as well. So the action is aplenty as they come around to finish the lap for the first time, as we see Tony Baker. That is jumping all over the place. Tony Baker going out wide. Lots of dust coming back onto the track there in the background there, but John Merritt has stepped away to a solid lead so far as he jumps out to 2.5 second lead here. They're going through the first quarters. Here we go through Moss S coming up here, one of the most tricky little parts of the track here because it is full pelt and you can not overtake, but I've seen people go too wide into there and cause some slowdowns and some chaos as we go into Atwood and then up the long straight. How are we going back there, Daniel? And we're trying to get this sorted, so just hold on here. The nice long line of the GR86s there and that Clio just popping out there in the middle of it, who I think is Dale Shepherd, doing a great job there in the Clio. The Clios seem to be able to hold pace with the 86s. There's a little MX-5 sits there as well. That would be... No, not Nathan Verney. It's the other one, Sean Doyle. So look at the debris floating out. This track has got a lot of debris on it already. That will make it a little bit difficult, especially if you want to do overtaking around the outside there. As we see a bit of a dive here down the inside. We're on board here. Not on board, but we're following around the back. These guys are battling very hard in these first couple laps. Remember, 28 laps here, everyone, 50-minute race. 2 tyres need to be taken at some stage during this race. We have Gavin Barber here on screen as we come around onto the straight for the second time here. Yeah, no problems at all. That Clio is leading this pack here. Dale Sharp in 8th, 9th and 10th. It's a nice little pack. Dale showed some form in the Tin Top Cup just prior to Christmas. If you caught up on that one, Daniel, he had some really good pace out of the Clio and really put it to the 86s, but just had some fuel problems because they didn't quite manage the fuel properly in that race. But it was a really good to see him race. But Daniel, how are you seeing this race so far?
From what I'm seeing was, unfortunately, we've still got Josh Horton trying to stick it out here, but the number of reports we've heard come through on the radio, I get the feeling he'll be told if it keeps on happening to unfortunately park the car and end his race. But Let's have a look here at the back of Dale Sharp as we've got Sean Doyle, Gavin Barb, and Daniel Boswell right in behind him as well. You actually see here in a straight line, the Clio's got some decent run, but under brakes confidence there from Barber up the inside. Doyle does get the place there for number 9, so a good little exchange there between these cars. And good to see that despite the fact these cars haven't been modified for this opening round of the season, it would appear that they are balanced enough that we are going to get some good racing. And there's the strategic element, as you mentioned, of course, Peter, with the compulsory pit stop, minimum 2 tyres. And those times are slightly different, if I've been led to believe correctly, with the different cars. So which tyres you take and how long it takes you in the pits may balance out any performance differences on the track as well.
Yeah, the Tin Top Cup that we had just before Christmas with these exact cars showed a little bit of the difference in the strategy of these cars. The data they got out of that was very helpful for this season coming up. But as you mentioned before with Sean Doyle there, those MX-5s have got some extra pace down the straight. But going around the corner, that big wing on the back of the 86s really makes a big advantage. You can see there the closing the gap on Dale Sharp there with the 86s doing a great job. Just behind, though, those guys are really fighting it out, trying to get the pass. You can see how much speed they've got around the corners over Sean Doyle there in the MX-5, but they just can't do enough to get past him, especially down the straights. And even if they do get past him, they're not going to hold it down this big, long straight that they're about to hit. You watch this Clio be able to put it up. Gavin is trying everything here. He'll grab the slipstream as fast as he can, but the Clio just moves away. He's really got to position himself to get that speed through the exit of the hairpin. You can see him come down there. He can't get close enough, so he's going to have to find a way to be a bit more alongside coming out of Atwood, going up that hill to get past that Clio. It's going to be a very interesting race, especially as we see how the tyres are going to hold up on these two cars. And we see a big spin in the background. Unfortunately, we've got Daniel Boswell off. Seem to maybe come in contact with a couple cars behind, but we'll have to check out on that later. Daniel obviously should be able to get back on track, hopefully not bring too many marbles with him, but unfortunately dropped down to the back of the field there as we catch the replay here. Battling with that MX-5, and he's just got tangled up, I'd say, off there, which has slowed him down. No, it's a self-spin. I miscalled that. Self-spin. Just a little bit too much power in the back as he's come back onto the track, and it's flicked around the other way and not ended his race, just put him back there. He's got plenty of time to come back into this race as you see him coming back there. And moving on, interesting to see when these guys come in for the tyres. I believe it'll be we did find there was a fair bit of tyre drop off towards the end of the race at Phillip Island, because there were people actually getting black flags for tyres popping at the end of that because they did go too long on the sits. So we'll see if a few people have learned from that and do that mid-pack strategy. But currently the 86s are doing a great job at front. We've got the battle for second here is looking really good. Tony Baker always up front in the Ozicar races, followed by Jamie in the MX-5 here, doing a great job for that. And you can just see how much effort Tony is putting into hitting every single corner and pushing the track as far as he can. Riding the edge as he does very well in this series in these cars, which are all about momentum. Keep the speed up. All three of these cars, if you want to learn how to race in iRacing, you want to get better at iRacing or better at racing in general, race these cars. They are super fun to learn and super good to teach you the basics of keeping the car's momentum up around corners. As you can see Tony going wide there, using as much track as he can, just trying to find a way to come back at John Merritt, who has got a solid lead here as we go 5 laps into the 28-lap race. It's got everything so far, Daniel. You can see behind there that Clio is just holding up the field a little bit now, and they'll need to find a way to get past them if they don't want to lose the big gap that's forming.
Yeah, it's 100% part of the challenge here for these drivers. And you also got someone like here, like Dan Stevens, who's trying to latch onto the back of this battle pack. He's just not quite there, but maybe just getting a whiff of the slipstream off Brodie Shepherd's Toyota 86 in front of us here. He's one of our 2 drivers tonight who has joined us. There's a car off. That's Tony Baker wide on the exit of the hairpin here onto the back stretch. As we'll have to check back in with Dan later on, because let's keep an eye on Tony Baker for the run here up towards the hairpin, because now he's going to have that MX-5 of Jamie Stovall all over him like a rash as they come up to the hairpin here, end of the straight. But it looks like the 86 strong on the brakes, and Hearn up the inside, potentially a Stovall there, as it's one MX-5, 3 Toyotas. It's all Japanese though, mind you, and the battles will certainly keep abreast. Stovall though hangs on to third place there, able to defend the racing line through the next pair of left-handers there, Peter. So checks that box. Although Hearn comes again up the inside this time into turn number that'll be turn number 8. Get my corner numbers right. As I said, there's 11 corners at this place, and we'll get 2 more right-handers after this switchback hairpins to finish the lap off.
Yeah, that's it. You can see how much effort those 86s have to put in. They're trying everything in here, and Daniel, as you said, just watching this, thinking, yes, fight more, I'm going to get right in this, and this is all mine. But Tony doing a great job after leaving the track there and re-entering, still holding on, and managed to hold up a gap after all that fighting that went on there. So doing a great job. He must be, just happy with where he's going at the moment. But look at the work that Jamie's got to do. He's got to try and make this MX-5 as wide as he can get. Now, a little bit of slowdown there because he's just taken some gravel. He's got to hold this momentum up and make this corner work, because needs a little bit of a jump because it's got the cornering at the end of the hairpin. They're going to pull back on him really quickly. But he's done well, inside run, and he's going to put it down. Now the 2 behind are going to get in each other's way here and maybe even trip over each other as they come down the straight. Brody really needed to duck in behind, I think, and get this much slipstream and try and jump out, but these 2 are going to go for it here. Big dives in, and Brody's got it done. Brody's coming out the other side, but I don't think Trevor's gonna. No, Trevor's got through. Sorry, my timing is. That was Brody, and Trevor's going to fight back here. Trevor is going to put the pressure right on Brody, all to Jamie's delight, because it is now letting him just step away a little bit. Look at it, Brody taking the inside here. Trevor trying to hold the outside line, which would have been good because he would have been coming into Hobbs here and could have flown out with the inside run, but didn't quite get it. Bit of gravel there. You can see Daniel behind. He's deciding, this is holding me up too much. I'm going to pit now, get some tyres, and I'm going to come out ahead of these guys when they come in later on if these 2 keep battling the way they are. Very smart move. I like it, Daniel. That's a good job. What a view from the back of the GR86 as Trevor comes down trying to get the run and get in, but Brody's got his eyes on Jamie in front. What a classic production series we've got seeing here. All these different cars, all the different positives and negatives, and they're doing giving us absolutely great racing. Shout out to Donna coming along to see Sean in chat. Always good to see her in chat. And here we go. Can Brody line this up and make this work? We've seen the differences between the 2. This is where he's got to be right on the back.
Oh no.
I think he's close enough. Jamie's really going to have to watch the inside, hold down the inside line here. But I think the 86 will probably might have enough to be able to go around the outside and hold that line in through Revolver and Piper and get the lead here. Got around the outside. Very good job there from Brody. Now he has to kick away because, like we said, Daniel went into the pits. Will be gaining on them if he comes out, get a bit of an overcut happening. He needs to get away and put some gap on Jamie and not let Jamie get back in down the front straight here yet again. As Trevor now has to work on a way to get past Jamie here and make this work, as we almost gives him a touch but then pushes around the inside, but outside now, but it's not going to work. Trying to cut back here. Baker's opened up a bit of a gap here on Brody. John's got the gap, as we've said, but here is where the battle's happening at the moment as Trevor tries to make something happen with Jamie here. Jamie's going to get this run. Let's see if Trevor's close enough and can get it under brakes as we go on board and we work down the inside. How big's the dive going to be here from Trevor? No, it's going to hold on, and the MX-5 is struggling to hold grip around the outside, around that corner. You can see how much pressure was put on the rear end there as Trevor's now going to fly through here. Has to do what Brody did last lap. Has to be alongside or very close to Jamie coming out of the exit of Atwood as we go up the back straight. Goes for a dive down the inside. Solid move here. Makes it work. Jamie's going to fight back here, and these two are going to swap positions by the end of the lap, but I think Trevor can hold on here. Daniel, I think it's up. I think he's got to make it work.
We've seen now a couple of times here at the end of the backstretch that the Toyota 86s do have superior braking performance to the MX-5. Although this time round, Stovall calls Hearn's bluff, perhaps you'd say. But round the outside, there's grip there in these cars, and therefore that opens up the apex here at turn 6 for Trevor Hearn. He'll take that one away from Jamie Stovall as they then press on through turn 7 to the back half of this lap once again. And then our releases, as you said, both Shepherd and Hearn to make it 486 in a row, and then Stovall your first of our Mazda MX-5s. In fact, let's quickly switch out our positions again here on the timing tower for the car that our drivers are racing here today. And there they are. As we got another car into the pit lane. Was that Tony Baker? Yes, it is. So there you go, Baker, first of our leading drivers to respond to Dan Stevens. You can see here it is Toyota dominant in the field tonight, and by those things, just 2 Renault Clios in the hands of Dale Sharp here as well, who's still got Sean Doyle for company. Well, really flinging his MX-5 into the turns, try and keep up here with the Renault Clio. That just says, that's great. I've now got a bit of turbo power. Away I go. The other driver, as you said, who's in the Renault Clio tonight, Ira Felberg, series administrator and organizer here for Ozicar, trying to hang on against a small pack of 86s here. Who have we got? We've got Craig Tilson, Cam Edwards, Dan Stevens, post pit stop as well in and amongst this all here, as well as we're making our way down the front stretch. But it looks like for Ira, enough straight line grunt keeps him in 14th place. Dan Stevens up a spot ahead of Cam Edwards to 16th there on the run to turn 1 this time, though.
Yeah, interesting there. Tony Baker's actually come out behind John Snell, which seems to be a couple corners ahead of Daniel Stevens, who I suspect probably got a little bit held up in that battle there. That was the only downside of doing that early pit stop, is getting caught up in the traffic back in the field. So Tony Baker currently trying to overcut John Merritt as we see the compulsory pit stop is done. Flying down the back straight, we'll get onto Snell and probably get Snell before the start-finish line at some stage here, but really needs to push and get use out of these fresh tyres. It'll be interesting to see which tyres he actually took. I'd assume some fronts, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But this, you can see there, the rocks getting thrown up. Snell is doing a great job, as he always does, of holding on the back there of Brendan Nealon, who's doing a great job there. I saw before up 10 positions, I think, when you flicked up that little thing before. Is doing a great job as we see Ira getting overtaken there by Brendan, and Ira just doing what he can do and get out of the way as Brendan flies through the field, doing a great job coming up. Now 11 spots, which is a very good effort, chasing down Trevor in front there. No, 2 positions up there on the board. Most gained positions, that's what I'm looking at. Trevor, 16 positions. Very well done there. As Daniel Stevens, like I said, he'll be looking at Brody Shepherd and Trevor Hearn's times and just seeing if he's matching or beating them at the moment. As you see now, he's got rid of that pack and he loses it. Just pushed too hard into turn 1 there. You could see a bit of smoke, like where he locked it up, and I don't think the rocks on the outside helped there, because as soon as he lost it again.
Oh, all kinds of dramas for Dan Stevens.
Wow, I don't know what's happened there, Daniel. That's weird. That's broken.
It's not broken not fully broken per se, but he's not a happy man. I think it's going to go. Well, we have to go on board to try and get a feel for that one here as part of it. That's the original instance there for Dan Stevens. Let's rewind a little bit more here. Pick up the run into turn number 1.
He's going down. He looks okay.
No, it's just marble. I think it is honestly just marbles there on the racing line. Let's go back one last time here to the entry to turn 1, Peter, and eyes there on the marbles right in front of Dan Stevens. Yeah, he's just breaking in marbles, I think, and the car loses the grip that he's after. And as a result, yeah, He's then deep in marbles, and in the gravel, I should say, sorry, which seems to be all over the track. And as I was, the tyres are just covered in gravel at this point, and tries to commit to the power like you'd normally would. And unfortunately, his tyres aren't cleaned up enough,
That's unfortunate because he was doing such a great job. It was going to be great to see the battle with him and those front leaders and the undercut versus overcut. But unfortunately, that has been robbed from us. That little mistake. We were talking, I talked about the marbles earlier on. I was talking to you before the broadcast about how good it looked, but you could just see he went a little wide, a little height, and got stuck and lost grip, and that's the end of it. You don't get back from there. You can see him right behind that beautiful car of Nathan Verney's MX-5 there. Probably catch back up into, but you can see all the cars spitting rocks and smoke out of the back of their cars after that last corner there. It's crazy as we see another 86 throwing up dirt coming into turn 1 there. But it was able to hold it this time. This is a fun little pack, and Daniel doesn't want to be found himself here, but he has, unfortunately, as he tries to get past Verney. Going to put the power down. Verney's not going to make it easy for him, but at this stage, Daniel's got the run, and he's going to get both of them. He's going to get past that Andrew Green as well. So puts the foot down, comes out onto the back straight. Verney's going to pick his side. They're all going to try and pick a side, and they're all going to tailgate each other down to the hairpin. This could get very interesting very quick. As Verney, we know, is in the MX-5. He's got that extra power. We're 3 wide into the hairpin. But common sense does prevail, and the 86s, though, will all sneak almost through here. No, Verney's able to hold the inside line. Very good job in that MX-5, considering there's no wing there. You can see MX-5 don't get a wing. So the rear grip, as you see, his tails. Oh no! Is that Daniels again gone? I just wonder if he's burned his tyres out at some stage. He's pushed too hard and his tyres have lost grip at some stage. But that's a lot of rear action gone in that car in 2 laps. So once again, that's a very high marble spot yet again.
Yeah, I just think it's just more gravel, unfortunately, on the road for Dan Stevens, with perhaps now this time a bit of pressing combination of having already hurt the tyres. He just caught gravel there on the exit of turn 6 himself, and with everyone else graveling, we had a gravel here in parts of the place where it is to get part of the racing line and the nature, well, prior to the debris refresh update here, is that you would push the track limits really aggressively, and it would appear that's gone all kinds of wrong there, as you said, unfortunately, for Dan Stevens. So gets the car going, and actually, no, he comes back into the pit lane here once we return to live pitches. And I wonder if he might be calling that. I'll have to see if he calls that tonight, which is not typical. And it looks like trouble for Cam Edwards, another driver to go around in a Toyota 86 as well, by chance.
Yeah, there's a lot of survival factor about a long enduro race that's 50 minutes. In these cars in particular, and at this track, you've got a lot of off-camber stuff here in this track. You're never really on a flat bit of ground, and chuck the gravel in there with it. It makes this track very difficult if you lose a little bit of concentration, and if you try and go the wrong way. You can see they got corrected by the car on the inside, and just had to go wide, come back on there. Just a quick point here, John Merritt has pitted now. He's flying through the field a little bit, I think, as we've got a few more pit stops happening. But John Merritt has come out ahead of Tony Baker, as we suspected. I didn't think the undercut was going to be a 6 or 7 gap, but John Merritt doing a great job, as he always does. One of those people probably done just about as many races in Ozicar as anyone, and I know he's a very talented driver, and always, if you're in a serve with him, you're trying to match the pace with him if you want to be the fastest in the service. So doing a great job there. Mama Doyle's talking about Sean, who was up a fair few spots. I think that was a little bit to do with pit stops, but he'll come out now still in a pretty good position for the MX-5s that he's racing with, and doing a great job as always, although it does say he's down 6, but always up for a good battle, Sean is, which is good to see. But Brodie Shepherd is leading this race at the moment. Trevor Hearn, as we said, they were stuck in a battle before. These guys are going long on the pit strategy. John Merritt will inherit the lead again at some stage if he doesn't make a mistake. But yes, looking good. Cam Edwards we're looking in the pits there at the moment. But Brodie Shepherd is our leader, about to start lapping some traffic here at the moment. Has to make the decision. We are halfway, so we're lap 14 at the moment. He's pushing on and going to go as long as he can. Must be seeing a little bit of time differential on someone. I know these guys all run the data like myself, so they know exactly what lap times they're doing compared to everyone else. So while everybody's seeing the time, you may as well stay out there and not risk anything, especially with an open track like he's got. But some really good driving out here today, and the gravel playing a big factor in it, which I thought it might, but it's good to see that iRacing has made this a little bit more interesting with this. As we see, John Merritt's got the fastest lap of the race too. I don't know if that was just recent, but he's definitely putting on some pace here. But Brodie, what a good-looking car. These guys are always up front as well. I know we've raced against Brodie for a very long time. He's a very good part of this series as well. It is one of those series where the drivers are very loyal to this series. It's good to see. They all know each other. They know how to race against each other. That's why you don't see too many incidents and accidents. But have noticed, Daniel, that Daniel Stevens is still in the race. He did come back out. I don't know if he just got another set of tyres or something like that, but did stay in the race, which is good to see. As we see Doyle racing around the track here. That's a Vermilion paint job. It is, if my eyes are correct, Vermilion Motorsport. Having a good battle here with Daniel Boswell. Once again, MX5, good down the straights. Daniel will have the pace around the corners. Brodie, I thought, is the Vermilion as well. We're just looking at that. But look at that, great pass. That's Daniel has put it down the inside here, which is one of those things we saw they have to do with the 86 down the straight. You've got to be on or in front of the MX5 at the start of Atwood, and then by the hairpin you can really dive deep there. Sean's going to do well to be able to hold the inside here, but gives it up and lets the pass be made, which is very good to see. Sean, I think the MX5s, especially from the Phillip Island race we did, just not quite on the pace with the other two cars, but I think they'll have some advantages later on down the track, especially with a few more, with a bit more balancing going on, which I know Ira's going to work on as we go through the series. As you can see there, Daniel's just jumping away just a little bit, so but always good to see these three cars racing together. I love the slow momentum cars all racing together. It's really good to see. As Sean makes a beautiful exit there onto the main straight for the 16th time as we come down here with only 12 to go, Daniel. This race has flown considering it's a 50-minute race as we see the two Ozicar cars. No, it's not two Ozicar cars. Which ones are these? Adrian Duke, these two teammates racing next to each other. Not next to each other, but nose to tail, having a bit of fun out there. Benjamin Wheeler, all these guys have been with this series for a very long time. Very well done for supporting Ozicar for so many years. But as we see them run together, and they've got Ira looking in front, and they've got the Clio behind as well. So Clio's everywhere around these two. But Adrian takes the lead out, or holds the lead from Benjamin Wheeler as he looks behind Ira Felberg to try and catch on the tail of him and maybe make a pass somewhere down the track then.
Yes, he will indeed. Well, noting there actually it's our two Clios sandwiching these two particular Toyota 86s at this point in time. And the two boys here from Powered by Coffee. I do apologise to our drivers tonight. I was helping actually other SimSpeed producer Joe Kennedy get some things ready for the iRacing Supercars Series broadcast coming up next on SimSpeed TV. In fact, it will be starting in just over about 40 minutes time, at least is when the scheduled start time is, as Ira Felberg has jumped through the pit lane, and that will therefore promote these two drivers to jump up a spot there. But so unfortunately I have team name information that's been provided by Ira. I just didn't unfortunately get loaded into the overlays, but we've got a host of teams here. Pulse Ozicar Toyota with John Merritt, Tony Baker and Tim Harris here tonight, plus William Motorsports with Brodie Shepherd and pardon me, where's he gone?
Sean Doyle.
Yeah, I know. For some reason, I know. I've just had a moment there. As I said, the two Powered by Coffee guys here. You've got Jamie Stovall for Synergy Sim Racing, Gav Barber, Dan Stevens, and I believe it was Brendan Neal. No, pardon me, Craig Tilson. Craig Tilson is the third driver for Middle Finger Racing at the very least. You've got Ira Feldberg, of course, he represented himself on Ozicar as well in the process. So we've got plenty of teams here who will be, I'm sure, trying to find ways to work together, I would think, around this circuit. And then we've got a couple of drivers who I haven't seen before in Ozicar competition, although whilst my broadcasting coverage is sporadic, depending on when Jay needs me, as Jay usually handles Aussie car coverage here on Sim Speeders. Speaking of action on track, there's actually a bit of action in the pit lane as Brody Shepherd takes his compulsory pit stop here, end of lap 17 with 11 to go. He will come out of the pit lane and he will be passed by Tony Baker, so that will be P3 for the Vermilion driver here in his 86. Comes out though comfortably ahead of Elliot D by the looks of things, who owes us a pit stop still. Let's bring it up here on the timing tower, folks, for you as well as Peter here in commentary. Because of course that is the important thing to remember in this race. Make sure you get that pit stop done before the end. Another moment for Brody there, which is not ideal. So Elliot D has done well so far to keep his nose neat and tidy, but as OSO pit stop, so that will see him drop down the order once he gets that done.
Yeah, so I mentioned at the start of the race, I saw Tim Harris have a bit of a moment and went off. I believe, are we looking at the pit stops? Did he get his stop done right at the start? He did when he had that incident. So he's actually in position at the moment. He's 16 laps on all four tyres are 16 laps old. So he's one of the earliest to pit in this race because of the incident he had. Fought his way back to 6th. It's a solid effort, and Elliot is in there, so Elliot still has to pit. So Tim Harris recovering extremely well in this 50-minute race. Like I said, races aren't over with these early incidents. You can come back, especially as this field does stretch out a lot. So well done, Tim Harris. But you can see there, Elliot doing a great job. This is what I used to love doing the long strat, getting enough coverage and getting that cool spot in the top 10. I think I even let a race at one stage because I went so long. But good job, Elliot, for getting 18 laps out of your tyres and coming in. Just about the fastest, best out there. I said fastest because I see up top there, John Merritt's just put the fastest lap of the race in, a 1:42.7. Absolutely flying as he holds this 8.5 second lead here over Tony Baker and Brody Shepherd right up front. The unfortunate thing about John is he doesn't get a huge amount of TV time because he's just leading by so much. Most of the time. Not most of the time. He's a very good driver. So well done to John putting down a fastest lap at 19 laps into a 28 lap race on 7 lap old 2 of the tyres anyway. So doing a great job there. There's not some interesting stuff. I thought I saw some action back down the track, but it's all getting very spread out now, Daniel, as these cars, you can see there, Trevor goes a little bit wide there, chucks some rocks back at Dale Sharp, who have been battling pretty much most of this race. Trevor worked hard to get past Jamie early on. No, I'm looking at the wrong Trevor, sorry. That's what it was. That's why I'm having a bit of a mind lapse at the moment. Trevor's up a lot of positions though, so doing a great job. Trevor Hearn is who I was looking at before. Sorry, apologies to Trevor Hearn and Trevor Mortimer. But you can see there that Clio has got some pace, just sticking with Trevor around the corner there. Doing a good job there, these two holding that gap of about half a second to a second at the moment. As you can see the rocks flying up there that caused Daniel so many problems before. These guys are battling, but I think Trevor's just getting the better of him just as he gets around these corners. Just seems to be opening that gap ever so slightly. So doing a great job. What a look back to these 86s, look amazing. And yeah, it's just the traction you can get around that, especially those last couple of corners. The fast flowing right-handers just opens the gap up as gets away there. Now out to over a second and a half as we watched that thing. But you got back here, Vernie, Phil King, and Sean Doyle's in the background, and Daniel Boswell. Is he in there?
Would appear, unfortunately.
Oh, it's a
Peter,
lap
we
car.
have
That's
some
what it is.
lap traffic here in amongst
Yes,
this
that's
battle,
what I'm looking
indeed.
for.
It's Craig Tilson in the number 22 machine, so looking to try and at least keep the rhythm going here. As there you go, through turn
Vernie
2.
gets wide.
Kick some more of the gravel up and bring it back on track, why don't you? But yeah, that shows you these guys there. They're putting everything on the track, and it does mean they are exercising a bit of liberties with the track. This is our battle on circuit at the moment here, folks, between Nathan Verney and Phil King. So let's have a look here from Verney back towards King. Battle for 13th place here as they're on lap 20 of 28, and good draft here for King as we come down the backstretch. Inside's wide open here, Peter, and takes it at the apex there very nicely indeed. Verney's going to
hold on. No, he's going to let him have it, Daniel. Oh, Phil's gone wide though. This is the 86, has no traction on the back end, especially we talk about these different angles down through these left-handers, and the gravel just lost that rear end, but was able to hold the momentum enough. Nice little drift. I thought Verney might have got back here, but Verney, I can tell you right now, will be working all over that tail, trying to work out where he can, but not too worried about the car behind, although it is an 86, so could cause some problems in the corners here, but Verney's going to be sitting here trying to work out the best way to get this position back for the next 7 laps as we do count down to we're into lap 21 of 28 right now. But right now, there's not a huge amount of battling on track, although I just noticed, Daniel, that Dale Sharp and Daniel Broswell are getting pretty close here in the Clio and the 86, as Daniel is all over the back of Dale. Dale Sharp in this Clio is really trying to hold on to this top 10. He'd love to see a top 10 spot here in the Clio, and is the top rated Clio since Ira's no longer on the track at the moment. But you can see there Daniel's pushing around, not quite going to get that outside, and setting himself up for this inside run. I don't think he's close enough here, but we will see. Especially this Clio is going to have a bit more grunt right at the end here. It's just going to have a couple more kilometres extra top end speed going down that straight. Daniel will have to try and get it, I reckon, coming onto the home straight, coming out of Mike Knight corner and the final corner. I think that's where he's got to line this car up to make the move happen, although he does it early and just does it there. I can't call anything at the moment. Good job, Daniel. Pushes past here. Has Dale got anything to answer him with through probably the 86's fastest part of the track compared to the Clio? But we will see. Opening it up a little bit. Can Dale now line up an exit here and get enough speed down this shorter front straight to try and maybe put some pressure on him going into that or our first turn, and maybe push some late braking from Daniel Boswell. But he doesn't seem to be close enough just here. But it's a great battle, these two very different cars battling on track, doing a great job here. But Dale just doesn't quite have it, I don't think. I think Boswell's going to now just jump away here, unfortunately. But up further, Trevor Hearn, if we can get to Trevor and Gavin Barber.
Yes. Well, we've actually got a couple here.
There's a couple. My timing board's gone red, Daniel. It's gone red. There's lots of stuff happening. This is Jamie, isn't it?
Yeah, this is our battle for 4th, Jamie Russell and Tim Harris, and just there in the background, I'll flow it up in the bottom right corner. You can just see it there in the edge of screen. We've got Gavin Barber and Trevor Hearn indeed. So all of a sudden, didn't quite catch this brewing when it happened, but now we've got 2 pairs of 2 going at it, it seems, here on the circuit. This will be good to watch indeed, and a bit of a mixed manufacture of racing, at least this one here between Jamie and Tim. You're certainly going to see Toyota versus Mazda duke it out, whereas there's certainly all 86s here in this next battle on the circuit. So keep an eye on it here. In fact, let's go with Gavin Barber, perhaps on board for a moment with the man behind the wheel of the number 25 for Middle Finger Racing, because he's also got his that zoom camera once again here. That's right on board.
Yeah, here we go. So Gavin needs to line this up. We have two very matched cars here, which is really good to see. He's got to get through Moss S here. And how deep is he going to commit? These two are really enjoying this. You can see them going all over the track down the straight there. Trevor's left the inside open because he knew Gavin couldn't quite do it. Gavin's lined it up. He was just not far enough back. This is where the slipstream's going to come into it. Does he get enough slipstream to get alongside? Is Trevor going to let him have the inside? Not a chance in the world. Gavin's going to have to do it on the outside. But remember, the next two turns are left-handers. If he can hold it with a little bit of camber there, doesn't push it because it is extremely hard to keep it up out there. But that was his chance. Trevor did not let him do it, pushing every corner and the gravel as best he can to hold this position. But this isn't over yet. Gavin has more to say about this position, 100%. We've seen Timmy Harris up in front just quickly get by, as noted, but Gavin has done a great job here. There's a great battle going on, and you can see that Tim, like I said, had that incident early on, pitted early, good strategy. His tyres must be screaming at him right now, 21 laps in. But this is the pass here. You can see on the back almost pushing Jamie down the straight, which is very rare to see for an 86 and an MX-5, but pulls out perfectly. I've raced with Tim before. He's an absolute legend and just makes it work, and without incident. It's one of those things, like I said, these guys race extremely clean in this series. If you want a series to get into where it's got clean racing, now's the time to get into this series in particular. And now Timmy will probably step away and try and catch Brody, but there's no chance of that. I don't think. It's 11 seconds down the track. Brody is a very fast driver. Tim will be happy with fourth from that very unfortunate start. The Echuca team holding down first and the fourth in a very good effort. But here we go. Trevor Hearn and Gavin Barr down this straight again. Trevor's going to move over, or he's not going to move over this time. Gavin's far enough back for him not to worry about it.
Let the racing line, indeed, with the hairpin, and maximise the entry to the corner, which works out very nicely for Hearn, indeed, the Peter. So this battle here going to stay as they are for now, although a little wide through 6 and 7 brings a bit of gravel back on the circuit. Barber maybe having to drop back a tiny bit here. So race leader is on lap 25, I'm seeing now. So yeah, these guys here about 30 seconds. One, yeah, there you go, just ticked over now. So we are running out of laps, and we will get the laps from what I'm seeing here, Peter, just before the time lapses. So it has been calculated just about perfectly by RFL, but drivers can know for certain how long this race is going to be in either way you look at it. But yeah, this battle here, can they catch Jeremy Stovall? Maybe not, but close on lap times, because on that last lap around, 0.7 of a second favour going away, Trevor Hearn over Jamie Stovall. So we've got 4 laps here. If they're quick about it and they make consistent gains, we'll see a 3-way battle for 5th. We'll have to keep it posted. Other battles on track though are worth a watch. We've got a battle here for 9th, a battle for 13th, and a little further on back, the battle for 16th place. So plenty of things to keep our eyes on here, Peter, in the closing stages of this opening round of racing.
Yeah, definitely is. You always find someone to be racing with. I just tried to find, I think there was a few incidents back before. We had Adrian Duke was running close to Benjamin Wheeler. They're sort of not as close as they were anymore. But here we go. Elliot D, if I'm correct, car number 64. Elliot doing a great job. We mentioned not a normal name for Ozicar, so welcome, Elliot, unless I've missed you in the past. Putting a bit of a battle on here with my screen is going all over the place. Cameron Edwards, just trying to hold him back. Elliot D once again in the MX-5, one of the few MX-5s in the field. Probably won't be able to hold off Cameron, unfortunately, but doing his best to make this car as wide as he can, which is doing great. Remember, Elliott's got fresher tyres, that is for sure. But Cameron is able to make it work. I think the exit speed he's going to have there, while Elliott should be able to hold and maybe battle back, Cameron's just got to hold that inside, and that will be that move solidified with the last couple of corners of this lap to go. Can Elliott do it? Got ahead, which is a very good effort, but couldn't quite cut across safely. But here we go. Good exit speed out of the hairpin. Elliott's compromised a little bit in that entry, and you see the smoke there flying off the back of the car. I'm not sure what that is, but Elliott's lined this one up, but I don't think the braking power to get in to these set of rights as we come on to the final couple of corners as we get onto the straight. Can Elliott line it up? Really has to nail these last two corners into the final corner in particular. Take as much curb as he can coming onto the final straight, go as wide as he can without hitting the gravel to try and get as much speed coming down to turn one. You can see there Merritt, our race leader, in the background, coming over to get the 27th lap started with almost a perfect amount. As you said, 5 minutes to go, 2 laps to go. It will be full race distance. Does another fastest lap. A little bit of draft there he would have got from Elliott. Would have helped out. Unfortunately, Elliott's now got a blue flag and obeys them perfectly, which unfortunately lets Cameron jump away, as Merritt will now fly down and grab Cameron as well safely. As we go back to Tony Baker, which when you start fourth and you get 2 positions for the race is a very, very good effort, but not over yet. Brodie Shepherd is less than a second behind there with less than 2 laps to go. You can be guaranteed one thing: Brodie will not give this up. So Brodie will do anything to get this final extra spot onto the podium. They've got their podium sorted out, but it's just which order they're going to be in at the moment. So a bit of traffic coming up here could come into play. We see IRFL won't be an issue. Neither will the other car, Daniel Stevens, as well. But it could just become tricky. We're in that part of the track where it flicks back on each other. And we've seen how much gravel's in this track. It's only going to take a little bit of a step out and something could happen. I know I'm talking up an incident here, but it's here we go. Trevor Hearn up alongside. That is Gavin Barber. We saw these two battling agents before, but they've caught up to Jamie. Jamie's doing a great job here. Just wants to hold on to his position over these 286s. The battle for 5th. It's all happening here at the mid-pack of this top 10. It's all come alive, this race, in the last 2 laps, Daniel. It's looking really good. As can Trevor hold it? He's got the outside, unfortunately, here. So he'll have to give it up. Will this open the door for Gavin? Gavin could be the big winner out of this battle at the front here. As you see, Trevor's off track, can't get the purchase he needs to get out into this corner. They hold each other up. If Gavin can line this up, you can see the momentum he's already got. Pulls to the inside. Will Trevor let him have it? He's alongside him now. He has to let him have at least a little bit here. And Jamie's going to hold on here, but this is going to get very interesting very quickly. As we've got marbles we were talking about with Daniel before. They do all hold it, even though they all looked very wide. As we go into the final lap here, Daniel, take it away, mate. This is one building up to be one great final lap.
This is going to be mad indeed. I thought for a second there, Peter, that Trevor Hearn had fired it in so deep to turn one. He was not pulling it up on the gravel here, but he has made it stick. And as they come around the hairpin here, come onto the backstretch for the final time, what has Stovall got in the 987 Synergy Sim Racing MX-5? The problem is, of course, slipstream here. Super important, super powerful, and he's got 2 Toyota 86s to worry about, not just one. As we head on down the hairpin here at the end of the back straight, Hearn, the inside is open. Will take the apex here at the end of the straightaway. Can Stovall hang on? I don't think so. No, he is there indeed as they make it out the hairpin, and he's going to be able to hang on to that 5th place for now. Hearn now having to worry about attack and defence as they round turn 7, but he's on the attack. Barber about car length back. Looks like he's not going to be in position to really mount the challenge. A bit of a defence from Stovall, but there's not a lot there. Hearn, the lunge. under brakes here into turn number 8, but Stovall tries to hang on. He does hang on around the outside there, just keeping it on the racetrack as he's left the barest amount of room there indeed. Hearn for the crisscross here at 10 and 11. Can he get to the inside? He will try, but Stovall's ahead, and I think Stovall's going to hang on. We have to apologise to John Merritt. Confident win, because the fight here for 5th is on as Hearn sends it up the inside of the final turn. He loses the rear indeed. Peter Stovall hangs on to 5th. Gavin Barber will inherit 6th place. Trevor Hearn to 7th, and in the background, Adrian Duke almost arrives to steal another place to make it 8 cars there to round out. And our top 10 is not done either as well. Here you go. 9th and 10th here, Ben Wheeler, Daniel Boswell off the final turn. It looks like Ben Wheeler will hang on to that one there in the second Powered by Coffee entry here tonight. And that looks like that'll just be about the battle packs here tonight as your final couple of cars.
We have to apologise to John Merritt. Clearly won the race for 14 seconds. We did not call it. Brody Shepherd and Tony Baker, those last couple laps, I had a dual thing going on. I almost wanted to call you back. It got to within half a tenth, I think, at one stage. They were up alongside each other, battling back and forth for the last half of that lap. But it still was trumped by that three-way battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. Timmy Harris crossing the line there in 4th as well. That last lap had it all. I'm sorry that we didn't focus on the podium at all, but we just had to call that. That was amazing, Daniel. Absolutely amazing.
100%. That is... It's the commentator's dilemma, it seems, here when we're racing. Get this kind of racing here in a series like the Ozicar Tin Top Cup. And after your first race of the season, and we're going to see a few more of these just like this later on here tonight, folks. John Merritt comes away what looks like a dominant race win, and in many respects, Peter, it probably was a pretty comfy win for him out there in front tonight. He brings it home by 14.5 seconds ahead of Tony Baker to make it a pole Suzuka Toyota 1-2 there. They'll be very happy with that one there, indeed, I'm sure. And then it was Brody Shepherd to round out podium for William Motorsports. Tim Harris, next of our pole Suzuka Toyota cars there in 4th, just able to, catch up and then clear Jamie Stovall. Unfortunately there for Jamie, looks like a late race fade in the MX-5. Maybe a little short on fuel, I'm going to think, but unfortunately that's not something we'll get the chance to ask him here tonight. He holds on just ahead of Gavin Barber and Trevor Hearn, bringing us to the action there to finish off the race. We'll have to settle for 7th place, unfortunately there for him. That last corner lunge, not quite making it stick. Adrian Duke leading home Ben Wheeler for your 2 Powered by Coffee cars there in 8th and 9th. And Daniel Boswell, not too far behind indeed, less than 0.2 of a second. It's hardly less than 3 of a second there to Wheeler to round out your top 10 here, Peter. And our last couple of drivers all handy here as they ham across the line here.
Yeah, so Trevor Mortimer held on to 11th there over Dale Sharp in that Clio. Sean Doyle, once again, lovely seeing him out there racing in 13th. John Snell, the car I've bumped doors with many times in 14th. Cameron Edwards, Elliot D, great to see you doing a great job there in 16th. Had a bit of excitement there at the end. Daniel Stevens, the race that could have been in 17th. Ira Felberg in 18th. Phil King in 19th. And Nathan Verney for the Locked On Lads, rounding out the top 20 there. The last couple there, Brendan Neal, I had him at the start with up many positions, but unfortunately did not finish. Craig Tilson, Andrew Green in 23rd, Joshua Horton showed a lot of pace in practice, but 24th there, and Sam Chapman 25th. I didn't even see him start. So that is tonight's top. That's the results from tonight's race, Daniel. What a spectacular race. 14 seconds between 1st and 2nd, but everything happened between 2nd and 5th in that last couple of corners, 2nd and 7th in those last couple of corners.
It sure did indeed, and I think as we now get ready to run into our post-race interviews, it's probably best we start from the top, I think, tonight and work our way back down the order there to break this one down for you folks. And so that means in just a moment here, we'll grab your race winner, John Merritt, and hear from him to wrap up part of the action here tonight. And with that all set and done, we now bring John Merritt into the comms box to have a chat with us here. And John, congratulations to kick off the season here in the Ozicar Tin Top Cup for this Monday night edition of the series. A pretty comfortable win by the looks of things there, but unfortunately we had a lot of action to watch further on down the order. How was it there out on track for you tonight?
Yeah, no, it was a good race. So I didn't know if I could make tonight, but I was lucky enough to get home in time, and no, it was good fun. good fun. And the boys largely, the Echuca Toyota Pulse boys had a good run as well. So good all round.
Yeah, great to see another strong representation from not just yourself, but also Tony and Tim tonight, and everyone at Pulse Echuca Toyota looking strong there indeed. How is it feeling? Yeah, new season for Ozicar here tonight, but also first time since I've started doing SimSpeed broadcasts of Ozicar races, and I'm seeing some multi-class action. You may have to fill me in as to whether Ozicar's done stuff like this before on the Monday night series, but also and the Toyota 86 strong in terms of car choice. But was there much deliberation before tonight's race as to which car you'd like to go with, or was the 86 a clear pick for you?
Well, I probably wasn't committed until 15 minutes earlier. I sent Ira a message. I said I'm in, and I said to the guy which car. They were all running the 86, so I jumped at it. I wasn't sure if the MX-5 would be equally strong, but it seemed like the 86, at least at this track anyway.
And of course, it's we'll see another 5 rounds of racing. It's a bit of a shortish series, and also I heard as part of the pre-race briefings, drivers will have choice to jump in and out of cars as they wish. So is that something you might entertain in future rounds of the series, to maybe see what you think of some variety with the MX-5 or maybe even the Renault Clio, or will the 86 perhaps be a home for you in the remaining races of this season?
I enjoy either the MX-5 or the 86, Dan, to be honest, but I think the Clio at some of those long straight tracks will be fairly competitive as well. So time will tell, and I'll go with the masses of what the teammates suggest, I think.
Yeah, certainly we did see the Clio looking pretty strong in a few points tonight round this place in traffic. But out in front, confident race win here tonight. John, before we let you go, who do you want to thank for getting it done here at Okayama?
Oh, just the teammates and the teammates for convincing me to come and have a run, and thanks Ira and SimSpeed for the broadcast.
Much appreciated. Glad to have you here, John. Congratulations once again, and hopefully see you out once again for round 2, and all the best for that one.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
They are your race winner, John Merritt, joining us there in the commentary box. And I'll hand to you now, Peter, as I'll bring in Tony Baker for our second place finish to have a chat with you here about his race tonight.
Well, congratulations, Tony Baker, on a very hard-fought second place there. How was those last couple of laps with Brody in that rear vision mirror for you?
Yeah, mate, I was sweating it up big time, let me tell you. And that lap traffic was coming, and I'm like, come on, guys, get out of the way. But that was fantastic racing. It was really, really good fun.
I did mention during the comms that you guys have all been battling against each other for, 35 seasons now. I know you haven't been here the whole time, but you've got a lot of time next to Brodie Shepherd in this racing. How much fun and how confident are you when you've got Brodie around you? And these lap cars that you've probably seen many, many times before.
Yeah, no, that's what I really love about Ozicar. It's a really good bunch of guys that get a lot of respect on the track. There's no biff and bash, so it's you sort of know who you're racing against and who you're not, and everyone I think feels the same. And if you're sort of a lap down or someone's coming through that's quicker, I do it too. You just move over, get out of the way, and learn from them. So really enjoyable. Okay,
so how annoyed are you that you convinced Merritt to drive tonight then?
Did he say that, did he?
Yes.
Look, regardless whether I win or not, it's just great to have him around. He's a great guy. He's fast, and it's no big deal for me. It's just great to be on the podium, so happy days.
It is really good to see him. He's always doing well. But look, tonight, Tony, second place is about you. One last question, though. Is there a more annoying person that you in Ozicar in that rear vision mirror than Brodie? Is he the one that you worry about most on this track? Because he seems to always be able to make a pass happen when he wants to.
Yeah, look, anyone catching me is always annoying, but Brodie was definitely quick. I pitted early because I saw him, he was catching me, he was 1.1 away. I thought I'm not going to give him the tow, so I pitted a lap early. That obviously paid off. I think I came out 3-4 seconds ahead of him, but by the end of the race you saw he was right on me, so one more lap it might have been a different story.
Definitely would have been. Do you want to thank anyone before I pass? We go over to Brodie himself.
Thanks, yell out to Glenn Seed over at Dale Pulse Tuning, and obviously Johnny Merritt at Echuca Toyota, and my partner Tash for always letting me race and having a good time. So happy days, and you guys in broadcast. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Tony. Congratulations again. And thank you, Tash, for letting us borrow your partner every now and then. But well done, great. And so, Daniel, we'll bring in Brody Shepherd and we'll talk about his race, and you can finish it off for us.
Thank you there, Peter. Indeed, welcome to the commentary box, Brody. As unfortunately we're seeing here on the screen now, man, we actually didn't get a chance to see this fight to the end because we had a three-way scrap for fifth that we were also locked into as well. But you gave it your all there, but going to have to settle for third place. Hopefully happy with that one there tonight.
Yeah, pretty happy. It's I'm a bit rusty. I haven't raced in a couple of months, so the start was a bit dodgy for me, but then I got into a rhythm and made a couple of little mistakes, which I think one of them I was almost sideways and cost me like 2 seconds. So I think that was what lost me the second place there, but it was still really good to chase Tony down towards the end and have a good scrap on that last lap and a half where I was pretty much pushing him around the track trying to find a way past, but he ran a pretty defensive line into the hairpin, and I think we both nearly missed the corner there, so that was good fun to watch. That would be good fun. But yeah, it was a good race.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we saw great racing up and down the field tonight. And speaking there of having moments occasionally, losing time, this is one of the first races I've seen with lower powered cars following the dynamic track and debris refresh, but also a circuit which in the past was a place where you may have been happy to push the limits. Just coming back here now with all of the gravel that now got put on offline and even online in some points as well here tonight, let alone grass and mud. Is that going to be something you're now going to have to keep in mind at future tracks, given the way that it mixes things up on the racing surface for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. In practice, turn 1 was a pretty easy corner, but then just throughout the race, there was so much gravel that was being pulled up onto turn 1, and I had to move where I was braking and turning slightly because there was just zero grip, and you try and turn in and you're almost sideways. And then the double left-hander in the middle of the track, there was a lot of gravel there, so the second you missed your mark by a tiny little bit and you ran off, you just had zero grip and you had to fight the car to bring it back on. So yeah, they've done a really good job with this debris update, and it definitely changes the way you race, and have to keep an eye out for cars coming off in front of you and then back on and bringing all the gravel on, because the second that they come back on, you lose grip.
Yeah, unfortunately, a couple of drivers further down the order falling victim to a bit of grass, gravel, whatever it may have been on track that lost them some grip, and around they went a couple of times in a few cases. So yeah, we'll be curious to see how that plays out at some of the other tracks on the schedule. Speaking of which, it is a 6-round series, mostly here in Japan actually, and then with a short jaunt home to Australia. We haven't talked to the other drivers, but I'll highlight it now. Our next race heads to the Fuji International Speedway. Huge amounts of power going to be necessary there, and the fact that we heard from Ira over the radios pre-race that free car choice in the series, and I can say the Renault Clio looked pretty good here tonight, even down the backstretch at Okayama. Will that mean you might mix things up with car selection, or are you going to perhaps pick and stick here with the Toyota 86 going forward?
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye out. I haven't driven the Clio much before, but from what I've heard, that had a lot of power down the straight, so definitely somewhere like Fuji it might be good, but then there's quite a lot of long sweeping corners there that might upset it a bit. So I'll keep an eye out, but yeah, it might just be an 86 run for me, but could always switch it up if I get a bit bored or want to try the MX-5 or the Clio around one of the tracks, because the MX-5 is always good fun to race.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing how that goes then indeed. Brody, floor's yours here to thank who you'd like to thank. Who helped you get it done tonight for the number 21 machine?
I'd just like to thank all the guys at Vermilion and for all the setups and the help with trying to learn these cars and get everything ready. It's always good fun to race there, and definitely you guys and Ira for putting all this on. It's very fun. There's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of new faces here as well that this season that were quite a lot of fun to race. Those first few laps were quite interesting with a few people I hadn't raced before and some pretty close side-by-side door-banging 0x racing. So definitely good fun, and thank you guys.
Yeah, likewise, Brody. Thank you very much. Hopefully see you out on track for the next one, and all the best when we do see you there.
See you guys.
And that's just about going to wrap coverage here tonight, Peter. But before we talk about next week in particular, I just wanted to talk about the series schedule in full because we didn't get a chance to go over it pre-race. But 6-race calendar every 2 weeks here on a Monday night on SimSpeed TV. As I mentioned to Brody there to wrap up his interview, we head to the Fuji International Speedway next week. And it's also the no chicane variety. So we take away one of the big braking zones in the back half of the circuit to keep in mind. And then Mobility Resort Motegi with the Grand Prix layout. So another longer track there as well, Peter. So next 2 races, I think, are going to be a very interesting case of power dependence. There's also potential for balance and performance measures to be implemented as well by IRA to try and even things out and keep all the cars relatively competitive. So what do you think we're going to see here in the next couple of weeks with these kinds of tracks coming up immediately, speaking-wise, in the schedule? But also, back half of the schedule, Tsukuba, short track, handling going to be critical. And then we bring it home to Australia with Phillip Island, handling and power. And then Bathurst, of course, the ultimate test.
Yeah, look, Bathurst will be the one that will bring everyone out. We've done it many times in the 86, so it might be a safety thing for a lot of people to jump in that. Look, Phillip Island, we did the pre-Christmas Tin Top Cup race there. The Clios were quick. The MX-5s had the speed down the straight but couldn't hold it around the corners here. Tsukuba's the one I'm interested in. It's a nice, short, windy circuit. Those 86s are probably going to have enough power there to dominate. But as you said, there's the next 2 weeks will be very interesting. I think there'll be some Clios on top. But as we get towards the end of the season, we'll see everyone getting familiar with the format and familiar with the cars, and we might see something a little bit different, especially come Phillip Island if we see a little bit of balance about. Very excited about the rest of this season, though. There's some really good track choices and really good cars coming up.
Yeah, certainly indeed. Look forward to see all the action here on SimSpeed TV. Next time out will be in 2 weeks on Monday, the 20th of January, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, when the drivers of the Ozicar Tin Top Cup hit the track at Fuji International Speedway. And if you wanted some more sim racing action here on SimSpeed TV, all the iRacing channels, as we mentioned during the broadcast, folks, stay with us here as we wrap up from Ozicar, because the iRacing Supercar Series on the Australian servers, their strength of field, the best of the best when it comes to multiplayer ranking, is getting ready to go racing at Circuito de Navarra right this second. You can join Jay Kennedy, Brady Baldwin, and Jake Sperry over on our channels here at SimSpeed or on iRacing. So make sure to have a look in there if you want some more virtual racing action here to continue with your Monday night excitement here on the virtual platforms. But that's going to do it here from Ozicar tonight. Peter, thank you very much for being here in the commentary box, and congratulations once again to John Merritt, your race winner here from Okayama for the opening round of the Ozicar Tin Top Cup. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for round number 2 from the Fuji International Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.